Welcome to Learn Maths TV. Previously, we talked about index notation and function. We defined index notation and then introduced laws of indices. We talked about multiplication, division, and power law. Today, we're going to continue from where we stopped, and of course, we shall be talking about the product power law. The product power law. What does it state? Let's say we have 3m and all raised to power 2. Product power law states that the product of different factors, perhaps in a bracket, raised to a certain power, that the power is distributed to the individual factors in the bracket. That is to say, this 3 will be raised to power 2, this m will be raised to power 2, this n will be raised to power 2. As such, 3 raised to power 2 will be 9 times m squared times n squared. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to multiply through, and if we multiply through, we get 9m squared n squared. And that is all for product power law. So in general, I would conclude that if A, B, C is raised to power x, I will have A raised to power s, B raised to power x, and C raised to power x. The individual different factors are all raised to power x, and these will be our result. If that is true, then we shall quickly go for the fifth law. The fifth law will be zero index. What does it state? It states that when a number or quantity is raised to power 0, that it is equal to 1. If that is true, then I would say 2 raised to power 0 is equal to 1. I will also say if 10 raised to power 0, it will also be equal to 1. If I have 100, then 100 raised to power 0 will be equal to 1. I can further decide to employ the second law, which is the division law, and narrow it down to zero index. Let's say we have 2 raised to power 3 divided by 2 raised to power 3. Remembering our laws of indices, we will recall that the division law states that if a number is dividing another number but of equal basis, that the divisor is subtracted from the dividend. As such, we have 3 minus 3. The divisor is being subtracted from the dividend, and now what we have here is 3 minus 3, we have 0. Now 2 raised to power 0 is equal to 1. From the division law, we are able to relate it to zero index, and of course we obtained our result. Negative index states that when a number is raised to a negative power, that the negative power becomes the reciprocal of the same positive index. That is to say that if we have, let's say, 3 raised to power minus 3, this negative sign, which is the minus, becomes the reciprocal of 3 raised to power 3. Let's say, for instance, again, we have 4 raised to power minus 4. This negative sign automatically becomes the reciprocal, and then what we have left is 4 raised to power 4, and that is the result. So, in general, I can conclude by saying that if A is raised to power minus B, that our result will be 1 all over A raised to power B. And that is our result. The next law we are going to see is the root power. It involves the method of showing the indices for different roots. Let's say we have 2 raised to power 1 over 2, 2 raised to power 1 over 3, 2 raised to power 1 over 4. The implication is that this denominator 2 becomes the root of these 2, all raised to power 1, and this denominator 3 becomes the cube root of 2 all raised to power 1. This denominator 4 becomes the fourth root of 2 all raised to power 1. That is all about root power. So in general, I can say if A is raised to power x over y, if A is raised to power x over y, that y, which is the denominator, becomes the white root of A all raised to power x. That is all about the root power. So finally, we're going to look at the fraction index. At times, a number might be raised to a power which is fraction other than half. For example, let's say we have 4 raised to power, let's say 3 over 2, or 8 raised to power 4 over 3. To prevent solution to this denominator 2 becomes the square root of 4, all raised to power 3. And the square root of 4 is 2, now raised to power 3. What's your 2 raised to power 3? 2 raised to power 3 is 2 times 2 times 2. Note that 2 raised to power 3 is not the same thing with 2 times 3. This is one of the problems students do make. 2 raised to power 3 simply means 2 times 2 times 2. And 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. This is our final result. Let's say again, we have this 8 raised to power 4 over 3. This denominator becomes the cube root of 8, all raised to power 4. The cube root of 8 is 2, and now we have 2 raised to power 4. What is 2 raised to power 4? 2 raised to power 4 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. And that is all about our fraction index. Thank you for being part of this program. The next class, we shall be solving all problems associated with index notation and function. I so appreciate. Thank you, and don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. We are still Learn Maths TV. Bye-bye.